I have 6:30. It's Monday, March 2nd. This is a work session. Welcoming comments. Welcome everyone to Bellefonte Borough Council work session. No council action is taken during this work session. So items for discussion. A, council chamber reconfiguration discussion. How would you like to start that?
How about, let's start this way. We just lowered these speakers down last week. And can you hear me back there better? Okay, good.
I like the way these speakers are down. I can hear everybody in the room much better than they were before, so I think that's a good step forward. One of the things I've heard is that people watching on CNET looks at a blank wall. They want to see that wall.
And we can change that. We can add it. Another one here.
That's a possibility, but that's costly. It would be cheaper just to kind of rearrange the tables in order to make that happen.
What's the cost?
I don't know how much, because that was done before we actually moved in. So I don't know what the cost was then. We could go back and look at the things, but I think it would be cheaper to just rearrange the tables.
I have some concerns about the chairs back here. I did look up some ADA requirements. Randy and I were here early, and he moved the front row up a little bit, so there seems to be enough space in front of the first row and the second row for that. I'm still having some trouble getting the correct answer for what is our maximum capacity here. I believe at this point it is 49, but we are going to follow up on some of that. I've been talking to Gina about that too, so we're going to follow up on that. So I believe that we need space for the number of people that we could seat in here. So with all of us, I did quick count, 6, 12, 13, 14, 15. There's 16 here. Minus 49 is 33 people. So we certainly don't have enough seats for 33 people. I know that doesn't happen very often, but we certainly want to be able to accommodate everybody on those times when someone does come in. So, and Joanne, I have received comments too. We've got that beautiful sign up there. We're kind of crunched in this way. I would like to see this move back around. I do also know that we are talking with a meeting room designer. And Dave, I don't know where we are on that. I neglected to follow up on that at all.
Yes, Ms. Dan. So we had a meeting last week with an architect from Paul Downs, just really to kind of talk through some space constraints here. He had some renderings that Alyssa provided, photos of the area. He's got some familiarity with the council space. So he was really just trying to get an understanding of the scope of what was trying to be done. We do want to bring him in front of council to have any questions that we were unable to answer responded to, as well as for him to kind of talk through some conceptual renderings that he's in the process of preparing to give you an understanding of what's possible with the space. Generally, I think he and Alyssa can fill in maybe anything I'm missing here, but did not think it would be a good idea to partition out this space. Likes that it's a kind of an open floor plan look, and feels that we could make it functional and I guess, acoustically where we want it to be, without having to go through a lot of cost and effort to partition space off or make it a, kind of a smaller area. So he seemed confident that he could give some ideas and concepts for council to consider, but he's in the process of preparing them.
Great, thank you very much.
Whatever we do,
I would like to make sure that we give ourselves as much access to flat screens or projection screens because or being in some facilities where they have readily available large screens, it really helps be able to convey information when we can show a screen that we can put up the information like where the parking maps are, that we want to shut off, we want to restrict parking. Springbenner Walker has a really nice map that they put up whenever they're showing their sewer system. Basically, you just track around to wherever they're talking about. So there's not the question of where is a given street in Bellefonte that we might not know. That information's up there on screen. So I would like to see more screens. Relative to ADA, ADA requirements apply to fixed features. So
They also apply to spacing between chairs. So Barb was absolutely correct.
only if they are fixed chairs. I have the U.S. Access Board website up, and I can provide that to you. It says it only applies, it does not apply to non-fixed chairs. So we could move the chairs around, okay? And that would mean, you know, possibly getting smaller chairs, which we've seen in some other councils. So we're not taking up as much space as these chairs are. So, I mean, I would like to see smaller chairs in the audience, and I'd also like to see these tables be on wheels so that we can reconfigure them as needed for any meeting. We do that in Patton Township, in their meeting room. The tables are on wheels. They have a privacy plate in the front. We can configure the room as needed for whatever meeting we want. So I would put that out there.
I partially agree with John and partially disagree.
Okay.
I'll do the disagree first. The chairs, I would like to keep these because there is a group of people that often are denied seating that they can fit into, and those are people of large size. So having these larger size chairs, I think, is quite helpful. In terms of, and what I do absolutely agree with you is what Patton Township has. They have like 3 or 4 large screens so that no matter where you're sitting in the room, you can have access to the screen. I attended the CCMPO meeting last week, and there was there were 4 screens that they had on each side of the room so that whether you were sitting at this table, you could look over here and see the screen, or there, back here, or whatever. Made it really easy to see what was going on when they started doing some presentations. So I agree with you there, John. Thanks.
I think there's also we need to understand people who have wheelchairs and have to come in wheelchairs, which we may have to move a chair, maybe we have to move 3 chairs.
Yeah.
But that's something we got to keep an eye on too.
I believe we had 2 TVs in the old council chambers. Is that correct, if I remember?
We did, yeah.
I personally would like to see the room turned the way it was and add a couple TVs so people could see better if that's the issue. Hopefully this is taking care of the sound issue. But for what it's worth, yeah, I like it with the Bellefonte in the back and the utilizing the large room. You're right, it doesn't happen frequently, but we have had some large crowds in here, and it's such a nice space. This really is a good problem to have, that we're talking about what to do with the amount of space that we have. So that's my my 2 cents, I would like to see it turned the other way and maybe put a couple TV screens on the walls that people could see better, since we have the sound addressed now.
I would agree with having more visual aids. I think that the way this is configured, the people up front, you have to turn around to be able to see the screen that we have here. So I would agree with turning it back around and having a lot more space for when we do have larger audiences.
So when you said that this is only occupied by 48 people, is that what you said?
That isn't, there is nothing official. I've been going back and forth with Gina on this. I had asked Mr. Stewart this earlier, years ago, how many?
I have some information on that.
Okay.
I asked that a couple of years ago because that was 49 people over in our old
Right.
chambers and 49 over here. What I was told is that they limited the space here to 49 people because if you go to 50 or more, we have to have more bathrooms.
I did hear that.
We have what?
We have to have more
Right.
bathrooms.
I did hear that
accessibility.
too, Joanne. There seems to be some miscommunication in the emails that were going back and forth with Gina. Maybe she can clear that up.
Yeah, this
But-
came from Walt Schneider
Okay.
from the fire
Right.
code.
We've never had anything in writing that, from what I understand, that we can find. That's all I'm interested in. I was also told the bathroom thing. Now it's the square footage divided by, I think it's 15. So I don't know what the right answer is, but I do think that we should have that and have it posted so that we're doing the right thing with that too. So we don't have too many people in, because I would say we probably went over that before.
I don't think we have 48 chairs in here right now. So we'd have to buy additional chairs.
I don't know. I did not count the chairs.
And I know there's square footage occupancy requirements. I'll use a bar as an example. They do a square footage and there's a capacity in a bar. And I think there's only one restroom for men and women. I think that can, for instance, the Rathskeller, Joanne. I'll use it as an example. I think
Just don't use the
I think they have more than 48 people in there at one time, and I think there's only one or two female and male restrooms. Well, whatever it's called now. I look back out there and I see plenty of space for wheelchair accessibility. I see places where we can designate as wheelchair spots, and I don't know the law. I hear two different stories, but if it's immovable chairs that requires it, that's fine. If it's movable, I think we can create the space.
They can be movable,
think-
but they can be movable, as John said. But it does need to have the space between them to allow people who want to sit, say, with a wheelchair in the middle to look in instead of being on the corner.
I think we can accommodate that. I think we were trying to develop a more personable space here than this large room. It's intimidating for some people. So that's why I thought this would be a good idea to move them this way. It makes it a little more personable. If you look at State College Borough's conference room, it's probably half of the size of this room. If you look at Harris, if you look at College, none of those rooms are any larger than half of this room for their council meetings. So I wanted it to be more personable, and I think when you open it up like that, it makes it a little less personable.
I agree 100%. We do want personable, and I like what Mr. Probolka said. Maybe whoever brings the designs back, or some of those things can show us some things that would utilize the whole room. All I'm saying is I think if you were to ask State College, they would love to have this whole big room. The reason that they have half of this room is because that's all they have. We're blessed that we have this. I don't care if we sit this way or it doesn't matter to me. I'm just finding, trying to figure out the best way to utilize this beautiful room that we have in the best way.
And the partitions, I thought that would make it a little more personable too than a wide open room like this. Wheels on the partitions that we could reconfigure the room for different meetings depending on what they are, not specifically borough meetings, but community meetings that may want to use the room. So I agree that people love to see the sign. That sign was placed here probably a little prematurely before we had this room laid out as we thought it was most going to be used for or most useful. So yes, people love to see that. I like to see it, but maybe we can put it on 2 walls. The other thing is, I agree with you, John, that we need to get into the 21st century on some monitors so that when we are talking about street paving, we can bring that up and we all know where that is. So that, to me, would be a little more important spending money on anything else.
Mr. Prabolka, when you were talking, I'm sorry, excuse
So
me.
with that said, I'm happy to turn it back over to the Facilities Committee and wait for this consultant to present something to us.
Mm-hmm.
You were going to say something?
I was. I was just questioning the partitions because you said he talked about partitions. Was he talking about movable ones or actually partitioning off the room? Or was that kind of an unknown at this point?
It was a bit unknown. I did mention that we were considering some movable partitions,
Okay.
whether it be just ones that can be rolled around or they have the like accordion style ones that you could install. I'm not sure how
That are
feasible that is for a space of this
100 feet
size,
high.
but I would say we really didn't get into specifics
Okay,
about the
I
detail,
just
how
wasn't
that
sure.
would look.
Thank
Yeah.
you very much.
Sure.
I don't know, there's things out there you can get. You can get new ones, you can get old ones, and they all look the same in most cases. Some of them are like an accordion. You just come together, and then if you're not using them, you can just put them somewhere in the back of the room, or you can just let them open, or open them up and break up the rooms if they need to be. If they don't, then they can just sit there. But you'd have them if you needed them.
So-
And as far as the TVs, 2 TVs, one on this side and one on that side, and you're sitting looking out this way, everybody can see it.
Except the people sitting where you are.
Well, we could put one here and one there. You could put 4
So we
in
need
there.
4. So
Okay.
along that, where is this as a budget item, and what is the budget for this process?
We don't know because we never heard it. We talked about it in the 24, and it never panned through. That's what I understand. So we have to go
Wouldn't
we have
that
to
be
go
the
back and
first
do
step to know how much money we have to spend?
that. We need to know that.
And where would we find that out?
Well, probably with the guy you're working with, we'll have some information. And then the other stuff, we just have to figure, what we need for that. If we want to put 4 TVs on walls, we could do that. It would look so much better in here.
I don't disagree. I'm just asking, what monies should we set aside, and where should we get it, and how much do you want to set aside for that?
Do we have
You're
that
too
in?
early on that, Doug. It's right now, we don't know. Until we get some numbers, we won't know.
And Randy, you're correct in that we won't know till we get the numbers. That you wouldn't be able to budget that until we do and decide. This may be certain steps that we take. There may be quite a few things that we can do that don't cost any money, but just rearranging the room to make it more conducive for what we're doing, I think that's not going to cost anything, but then we can go from there with what monies we would use. I also agree that the screens are very, very important, and I think that would help a lot with people seeing things when they're at the meetings too.
So besides not seeing that sign, what functions can't we do in this configuration?
We got to also consider the folks who try to see us on Zoom, because all they see is a white wall, and they don't like it. They're telling people they don't like it. How many people got questions about it? You know, so.
I guess the other thing is, Doug, I guess I would have felt a little bit better if all of council could have talked about this before it was arranged. I think that would have been an important buy-in for everybody to say, hey, let's try it this way. Let's not, we like it the other way, and have it be a council decision.
That's fine. But something had to be done the way it was, and I chose to move it to this configuration.
Back to the...
I think in some cases, Doug, you maybe stepped ahead a little bit too far for us. To walk in and you're here at one meeting, and the next meeting it's all flipped around, and I didn't agree with that at all.
Regarding the money issue, I think there's two different things we can look at. We can look at what is currently in the budget for capital improvements, because this is a capital improvement item, and go ahead and see what the cost is for doing these things that we want, and then comparing the two and see what can we do now, what do we have to put off till next year, and that will give us a good timeline to move forward with this.
I can tell you, we did not budget for any specific capital improvements in 2026 because we weren't really sure what the configuration would look like or what furniture would need to be replaced, what can be done at little to no cost, you know, kind of where the priorities are. So once, you know, council's had an opportunity to meet with the design professional and coalesce around a concept plan or a rendering that you think would look good and work well for this space, then I think we can work from that into how you want to prioritize it, whether you want to phase those improvements, as Ms. Dan suggested. Maybe there are things that you want to invest in the short term and other things that you can put off until funds are available, and we can align our budget priorities based on whatever council decides from there for probably a 2027 item.
I just have one more, just a quick question. Randy, our next meeting will be the end of March. For that, I wonder if we would have something back by the infrastructure committee meeting.
I think that's very doable.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yeah.
Where are the police using the two TVs that were over there in the council chambers? And my second thought is that TV in the Oak Room more valuable in the Oak Room, or would it be more valuable over here?
I find it to be very, very helpful in the Oak Room, because some of our committees have people that are outside of Borough. For example, the Transit Task Force has 2 people on it that we're working with through the CCMPO that usually join us by Zoom, and we absolutely need that in order for them to work with us.
Oh, sure. I was just asking the question. I'm not making light of this when I say this, but could we get 3 Roku TVs at Walmart and use bulk water to purchase 3 TVs for probably well under $1,000? That's just a question.
Buddy, depending on the configuration of the room, there's a size that needs to be bought based on the distance from the screen, and I don't know what that is at this moment because I don't know where they would be placed.
Right.
But I agree with Joanne. During the authority meetings, we use that monitor always, and we have plans to put up on the screen when we're talking about certain sewer problems and water problems that we can GPS that onto the screen and hone into it, which is what I would like to do for here when we're talking about projects. But I agree with what you're saying. If they're not being used at the police station, if they want to give them up, and we can set them up and people can see them. Why not use them?
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that.
I might know the answer to that because I took a tour over there, and that room where Borough Council used to meet, they're going to be doing trainings in there, and I'm sure with those trainings they'll be using those monitors. So I don't think that they are not going to be used. So
I think the end product is we need to wait for the recommendation, turn it back over to the facilities folks, have a close look at it again, and then make another recommendation. Yeah. That's what I said. After that report is brought, or that configuration is brought to you, you can discuss it and make recommendations. Is that a fair thing?
The only thing I'll say about the Oak Room is I would say that we instead of taking the screen from in there might be in the future a need for an additional screen in there. So I'm just from another perspective, I'm saying, yeah, that one's not available. So,
is there any more discussion on this topic for tonight? Okay, let's move on to the second item, Pennsylvania State Association of Boroughs. In your packet today, you all have a list of resolutions that have been presented in the past. What discussion do you want to go from there?
I made a list of the ones that I felt were important to the borough. The first one is Resolution 2020-501 and also Resolution 2020-103. They both pertain to financial assistance to municipalities that have a lot of tax-exempt properties. The first one I think was sponsored by Bellefonte last year, and that one was about the financial assistance. The other one is from 2021 that would establish a tax-exempt property municipal assistance fund. So I think because these are both related and they're both connected to existing House bills, House Bill 451 and House Bill 1702, these are already working their way through the House in Harrisburg. So if we can continue to support these two. House Bill 451 and House Bill 1702. Since these are already in the rotation, it would help to promote them.
Deb, can I ask how you'd recommend that we do that?
I think we can send PSAB a list of the resolutions that we want to support. And I have a couple of others here. One is Resolution 2502 that would amend the Pennsylvania Constitution to provide for a long-time owner-occupant program that would freeze future tax increases for longtime owner occupants. This would pertain to any citizen 65 and older who's lived on their property for 10 years or longer. And this would not eliminate their property taxes at all. What it would do is freeze any future increases for that resident.
Deb, is this the one that also says that as new funds come in from gambling, they would be put into the communities to substitute for
it would direct future gaming revenue to property tax relief fund for reimbursement of the property tax exclusion. So this would benefit, it's kind of a two-sided thing. It would benefit the residents by not increasing their taxes every year. But at the same time, it may affect the tax revenue that is already directly going to the municipalities. So it may be redirected from another fund, but that's another, bump in the road as far as acquiring the funds. I would also like to support Resolution 2020-509 to amend the Pennsylvania State Highway Law to mandate that PennDOT maintains all stormwater infrastructure servicing state roads and borough communities. Right now, boroughs are the only municipalities in Pennsylvania that have to take care of their own stormwater infrastructure on state highways.
You might want to go explain that a little further, that townships
Yeah,
don't have that
townships,
responsibility.
Cities, villages, boroughs are the only municipal entity in Pennsylvania that have to take care of their own highway stormwater.
And being a borough, we don't think that's fair.
It isn't. The next one is Resolution 2020-07. This was reauthorized for 2025 to increase the prevailing wage thresholds while including provisions for future adjustments and allowing certain municipal and education exemptions within the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Right now, when we do our paving contract every year, our proposal, we are limited to $100,000. Because if our project exceeds that, then we have to pay prevailing wage, and that severely impacts what we are able to do as a municipality.
Which, for the public's purposes, it results in us repaving fewer roads.
We can pave fewer roads every year because the cost of everything else is going up. So if we can get the prevailing wage threshold increased, we can potentially take better care of municipal roadways. And lastly, Resolution 2022-04 that was reauthorized for 25, seek legislation to repeal Act 43 of 2017, which authorized the sale, purchase, and possession of consumer fireworks by Pennsylvania residents.
What's that new designation in 2025?
That means that it had been active for 3 years, and it was reauthorized last year for 2025. So it will be active for an additional 3 years. Every year, the day after the 4th of July, we have the same conversation about fireworks in the borough. We've talked a little bit about a fireworks ordinance, which I think would also help, but if the state could repeal the act which authorized the sale of fireworks in the state, that would go a long way to helping to mitigate the problem. So those are the ones that I'm most passionate about. There are lots of others on the list.
Others?
Yes.
Yes, Joanne.
I have a new one. When Sam Pearson came and gave the presentation to council, she pointed out that the e-bike law is very complicated and very confusing. I'd like PSAB to ask the legislature to review and update the law surrounding e-bikes so the public can more easily understand and use these vehicles. According to Pennsylvania law, currently Pennsylvania only has one definition of an e-bike, and it caps it at 20 miles per hour. E-bikes that do exceed this speed do not qualify as pedal cycles and may actually require registration and licensing as basically a motorcycle. There are no Class 3 provisions in Pennsylvania law. I think if our e-bike, what we need to do is adopt what's called the People for Bikes 3-class model. The model e-bike 3-class law has been enacted by over 40 states. Pennsylvania is not one of these states. One of the advantages of implementing a 3-class law is that where class laws have been adopted, the manufacturers have typically affixed a permanent label with class number, top assisted speed, and motor wattage, plus maker details. You usually find them on the frame near the cranks or the head tube. Then with that placard there, the public knows which type of bike they are purchasing and how they must use it based on the state law, whether it's a Class 1, a Class 2, or a Class 3 label. It makes it much simpler. The public can see what it is, and you know what you're purchasing when you purchase it and use it. Also, there's no statewide requirement for helmets for e-bike riders. In our law, riders under 13 are required for helmets, but for traditional bicycles, but for nothing else. I think the faster they go, the kids probably should have a helmet. Local governments, most states with helmet laws take an age-based approach, requiring younger riders. In most states, it's either 16 or 18, not 12, to wear helmets, while making helmets optional for adults. Other states base their helmet requirements on the class of e-bikes. The research I did, it suggested that there should be mandatory helmet use for all riders of Class 3 e-bikes, and then look at age-related after that. So that's my suggestion.
Did you get all that, David?
Yeah, I put, ask Ms. Tosti-Vasey for a list of those issues.
I figured that. I already have it for you.
Sure can.
Oh, thank you. Oh, this is great, too.
Any other? Yes, Barb.
I have one that I always like to support, and I'd like to see this go through before I die. Resolution 2022-12, be it resolved that PSAB support legislation enabling the use of radar, LiDAR, and other speed enforcement technology by municipal police within the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. That would be very valuable for us to catch people who are speeding and be able to enforce it and go to court with that information. I don't understand a lot about it, but I know that it's very important, and it should have passed a long time ago. It's kind of the joke every year at PSAB.
Just to add to that, Resolution 2023-06 is similar. Also enabling municipal police to use the same motor vehicle speed timing equipment as the Pennsylvania State Police.
And Resolution 2020-09. Legislation for the use of radar and similar technology for speed enforcement with municipal and regional police departments.
All different ways,
so,
right?
Yeah. The only comment I would have to PSAB is they should also include speed cameras. Because having the camera there doing the job instead of having the officer there holding the radar sensor is a lot more time or a lot more budget efficient than having the officer there. So.
Are you saying radar that is automatically on, and if they see it, it sends a ticket to the person directly, sort of like the cameras at the toll plazas?
Yeah. Yes. All of if you go through northern or you go through Maryland, north of Bethesda, from there up to Frederick, it's how they've managed to actually control traffic through those areas. So
I've got a couple of tickets from the Maryland Department of Transportation. Right now, Philadelphia is the only metro area that's allowed to do automated red light enforcement. They have, I think, found it very effective over the years. In fact, there's a grant program that's pretty well funded from the proceeds of automated red light enforcement that's eligible for all municipalities in the Commonwealth. So they've kind of made those funds available, but other municipalities outside the Philly area are not allowed to use automated enforcement methods.
But work zones are now.
Work zones are now. Oh, okay.
Yes, the cameras
Okay.
can be used for speed enforcement in work zones.
Okay.
So
It's a step in the right
it
direction.
is, yes. I'm going to argue. I'm going to disagree with Deb on her advocacy of the loop proposal. The long-term ownership property tax reduction.
2025-02.
Yeah. I'm looking at my buddy Zach over there on the Zoom, being that Zach is the guy he's going to be the only one paying for the property tax increase while the rest, or he's going to be paying the increased property tax while the rest of us are getting a frozen. Oh, Alyssa, we'll have our rates frozen. So you don't want to get into a Proposition 13 problem that California put themselves into decades ago when they restricted taxes. And you ended up with two classes of taxpayers. You know, one down here that had owned a house for a long time, and then the new people coming in paying a much higher tax rate. So
I agree with you, John, that this is it's a touchy subject, and like I said, it's got two sides to it. One is it may or may not benefit the property owner, and at the same time it changes the tax flow into the municipalities, which may be a larger lump sum than the impact it makes on the individual household.
you're in a can of worms there that's going to turn out or end up being a reduction in revenue. And especially if I look around my neighborhood, most all of my neighbors will qualify along with me. So
Our legislators may think similarly to what you're saying. Our legislators may think similar to what you're thinking.
I think it all depends on how old they are.
Do we have other suggestions? I'll just read this. It was in our packet, PSAB resolution process. You can all have a look at it. Language clearly expressing the intent to offer and establish an official PSAB policy resolution must be submitted in writing to PSAB offices at least 60 days prior to the annual conference. And that date happens to be April 1st, 2026. So that provides the PSAB staff adequate time to do the research, identify any existing legislation that may address the issue, draft appropriate resolution language, compile and distribute resolution language and relevant documentation. So y'all can read the rest of it, but that's our deadline.
Would it be all right if I added a few more subjects just for council to consider?
You bet.
Thank you, sir. So thanks, everybody. This is always a little bit of a difficult place for me because it crosses, obviously, the line into legislative advocacy, but because I think by virtue of my position and staff's position, we get to see some of the impacts of these legislative decisions, good, bad, or indifferent. So there's a couple of areas that I just wanted council to give some thought to whether you want to endorse, and these are probably in the realm of new or quasi-new resolutions for PSAB. At least I didn't see them on their list here provided with your packet. Firstly, which I do think would be a benefit to Bellefonte Borough, is sensible regulations on games of skill. This has been on PSAB's radar. There's not been any bill that's really advanced out of committee yet, but and these are the sort of essentially slot machines, although there's a skill component to them that you see appear everywhere from corner drugstores to gas stations to I've seen them in a Burger King in my last township in Susquehanna. So having a revenue share is important so that we can adequately capitalize on some of the returns from that use to be able to fund our needs to service those establishments, either public safety or public works. But even more than that, just to be able to provide some common sense limitations on them so that you're not seeing these establishments pop up that are exclusively for the purposes of providing games of skill, essentially mini casinos. There is a bill that's in committee now. I'm sorry, I don't have a bill number that I think the Pennsylvania Municipal League has generally supported, but to provide for some common sense regulations around those uses, I think would be of good use to Bellefonte Borough and other boroughs as well.
Dave, isn't there something already in on the
Any other additions? Okay, if I hear none, I'm going to adjourn the work session, and we'll reconvene at 7:30. Okay, let's stop having fun down there. It's time to get this business meeting called to order. So, it's Monday, March 2nd, 7:30. I'd like to call the business meeting, Bellefonte Borough Council, to order, and we'll start off with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one.
Deb, would you want to do the roll call, please?
Mr. Brackbill.
Here.
Ms. Cleaton, here. Ms. Dan.
Here?
Mr. Eaton. Here. Mr. Johnson.
Present.
Ms. McKean.
Here.
Mr. Kelly. Here. Ms. Tosti Vasey.
I'm here.
Ms. Wilson.
Present.
Ms. Meckley is absent, excused, and Mayor Johnson.
Here.
Thank you.
Great, thank you, Debbie. Additions to the council meeting agenda in accordance with Act 65. If a matter is not on the agenda, council cannot take official action on it, with some exceptions. The council can act on matters relating to potential and real emergencies. Council may add a matter of agency business to its agenda through a majority vote. The council should state the reason why the action item is being added to the agenda. Does any council member have an item to add to the agenda for tonight? Yes, Barbara.
I have nothing to add to the agenda, but if I can just make this announcement again. Last meeting I made the announcement about the microphones. It was very well received. People said they heard us a lot better, so I will remind you again to make sure your microphone's close to you, closer than you think it should be, and speak very loud. I think the speakers will also help, but people did appreciate that we did that.
Thanks, Barbara. I appreciate that. Public comment. Borough Council intends to take public comment related to motions that are on the floor after it has been duly made and seconded. The order of comments will be public comment and then council comment, including proposed amendments by council members. If amendments are proposed to the original motion, the public will then only comment on amendments before the final votes are taken. You must be a Bellefonte resident, a nonprofit representative, a business owner, or an official representative of another governmental agency. Speakers shall identify themselves by name, street, municipality, if outside of the Bellefonte Borough. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. We'll move on to, I missed my page.
Hey, Doug.
Yes, sir.
Do we have anybody that wants to speak?
Do we have any public comments? We have 2 people on a sheet here, Mr. O'Neill and Miss O'Neill. Do you want to say something publicly?
We do public comments that aren't related to the
this
agenda
is not on the
afterwards, and comments on the
Sorry
agenda.
about that.
That's okay.
I was thinking the same thing, but one of my council members suggested maybe we take it now. That's fine. You're right. We'll move on to communications, and I'm going to ask Mr. Perbalka to have a shot at that.
Thank you, Mr. President. There are a number of communications included with your agenda packet. The first is the 2026 Center County Housing Summit has been scheduled for March 4th at 5:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. It's going to be held at the Community Services Building at 502 East Howard Street here in Bellefonte. For more information on it, you may visit the CBICC's website and click on their events page. The Alternative Fuels Workshop and Tour has been scheduled for March 11th from 1:30 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. The workshop and tour will be held at the Center County Recycling and Refuse Authority at 253 Transfer Road in Bellefonte. You can visit the Center County Refuse and Recycling Authority's website for more information on that event. Next, the Center County Metropolitan Planning Organization's Passenger Rail Service in Center County Region Survey is online. You may visit the CCMPO's website for access to that survey. The survey is open until March 13th.
Can I add something to that real quick? If you Google Rail Passenger Study Survey Center County, the very first item on that Google search will be a link to that survey. So it's Rail Passenger Study Survey Center County.
Thank you. The Center County Metropolitan Planning Organization Transportation Grant Workshop is scheduled for March 30th. Workshop will be held at the Center Region Council of Governments General Forum at 2643 Gateway Drive in State College. Center Regional Planning Agency's 2026 Planning Commission trainings have been announced, and more information is available at the Center Region Planning Agency office. And then lastly, the Clearwater Conservancy Watershed Cleanup Day is scheduled for Saturday, April 18th from 8 a.m. to noon. It's an annual event. You can get more information about volunteering and additional event details at clearwaterconservancy.org/watershed-cleanup-day. Thank you.
I add one thing to that. On that day, usually we end up in State College, but then we come back to Bellefonte. So we have, take about 3 or 4 people with us, and we go around and we clean everything up and go as far as we can. And so if people in council is interested, you're welcome to come. I'm not sure of the times yet.
For the watershed cleanup?
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry, like David said, it's Saturday, April 18th, and it's from 8 a.m. until noon.
Right.
And you can go to their website for more details. Yes, Joanne?
They're also looking for supervisors for the 70-some-odd sites they have around the county. So if you want to lead a group, I think there's we're 3 here in Bellefonte last year. Just let them know, and they will give you the additional information and training necessary to do that.
Just a question for Randy. Is it a specific group that you have? And
I'm just part of the group that comes in, and they'll do some talking or whatever it is they do, and then we take off. So we go, people go different places. So
right, and you start here in Bellefonte?
No, we end here in Bellefonte.
Okay, thanks.
Which means I got to drive all the way back up and get rid of trash.
I think, Claudia, as you gather, they form committees, and then they assign you to different spaces or spots. Okay.
Yes, I'd be the Bellefonte group, so yes.
Okay, any other questions for the written communications? Thank you, David. Appreciate it.
Sure.
Next item, consent agenda. Items listed on the consent agenda are considered routine and will be acted upon by a single motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless members of the council request specific items to be removed for a separate action. Are there items that council members might want to be removed from the consent agenda? Hearing none, I'd like a motion to approve the consent agenda and a second.
So moved. Costi Vasey.
Second, Dan.
Thank you, Joanne. Thank you, Barb. Any discussion? No discussion. All in favor of that motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Zach, are you with us? I think that's an aye. Thank you. No worries. Those opposed, same sign. Motion is carried. Next item, reports. Mr. Mayor, I think you're up on this one.
Thank you. I'd like to invite Ms. Tostavasi to the podium to introduce our special guest this evening.
Welcome all. I'd like to welcome you to Women's History Month. We have 3 special guests here this evening. Chris Schultz is past president of the American Association of University Women, or commonly known as AAUW. Kathleen O'Connell is the current president of the League of Women Voters for Center County. And Kim Hamilton is treasurer of Nittany Now, the local chapter of the National Organization for Women. Could you all please come up?
A proclamation for Women's History Month, March 2026. Whereas the Borough of Bellefonte recognizes the vital role women have played and continue to play in shaping the history, culture, and progress of our community, our state, and our nation. And whereas Women's History Month is observed annually to honor the achievements, leadership, and contributions of women across all sectors of society. And whereas acknowledging the accomplishments of women encourages equality, inspires future generations, and strengthens the civic, cultural, and economic fabric of Bellefonte. Now, therefore, I, Buddy Johnson, Mayor of the Borough of Bellefonte, on behalf of Borough Council, do hereby proclaim March 2026 as Women's History Month in the Borough of Bellefonte, and urge all residents to celebrate the achievements, contributions, and enduring legacy of women. In witness whereof I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of this Borough of Bellefonte to be affixed the second day of March 2026. And I believe, would you like to say something, please?
Hi, everybody, and thank you very much, Mayor and Council, for recognizing the contributions that women have in our community. I have a whole lot of stuff to say, but I'm going to cut it a little bit shorter. For more than 140 years, AAUW has been one of the nation's leading voices working to advance gender equity for women and girls. Through its advocacy and activism, it's helped propel numerous national pieces of legislation. Here in Center County, in 1916, so this is Women's History Month, so in 1916 there were 10 women gathered in a women's dorm at Penn State campus to establish AAUW in State College. That group purchased materials for libraries, established loans for women students, and lobbied for physical education and women's bathrooms. They also collected $5 to help the future Nobel Prize winner Marie Curie to buy radium. Much of our advocacy with AAUW is advocacy and activism put together by the Public Policy Committee. In this committee, we work to advance priority issues identified locally, by the state, and on national levels. My other little piece of history that I thought was pretty cool is in 1962, I was too young to understand, but in 1962, a handful of branch members decided that they were going to start a used book sale here in State College. That very first year, they netted all of $176. Fast forward today, this annual book sale has grown into a popular community event, because the mayor said he wasn't quite sure, but I need to invite him personally to come over to the book sale. We have hundreds of local volunteers and sell 250,000 books. And I can't tell you what we net every year, but what we do with the funds that are raised from that bringing it back to Bellefonte and back to Center County, we donate to community programs and scholarships. Proceeds go to projects of Center County nonprofits that align with AAUW's mission. Just to name some of these programs: Mid-State Literacy Council, Community Volunteers in Medicine, Women's Resource Center. This is benefiting women all across our county. Center Helps, county libraries. We used to do Bellefonte Reads, and STEM programming such as Girls Love Science. And I know that I personally come over to the one that's done here in Bellefonte because Bellefonte is my original hometown. So it's done for girls in middle school to help them understand that they too can do science and math. And so this philanthropy has helped fulfill the promise of empowering women that was begun by just 10 women in a dorm at Penn State. So we really, again, want to thank all of you for acknowledging and celebrating Women's History Month with us. And yes, I'm going to give you a...
Please do. Please do.
Hi, I'm Kathleen. I'm president of the League of Women Voters of St. Clair County, and also thank you for the proclamation and Bellefonte's recognition of Women's History Month. The League of Women Voters is a part of U.S. history. It started with women marching, speaking, talking to legislators, and saying, hey, we want to vote. And then in 1920, the 19th Amendment was passed, and suddenly there were tens of millions of brand new voters. And so the League worked to register, educate, and empower those women to go to the polls, make their voices known, elect council members, that kind of stuff. But the League has done a lot of other stuff. We worked with the United Nations, helped ratify the Equal Rights Amendment, won an Emmy for our TV presidential debates. During the Vietnam War, the League helped to lower the voting age to 18 so that soldiers were also able to vote. And we've worked hard to pass both the Help America Vote Act and the National Voter Registration Act, also known as the Motor Voter Act. Here in Centre County, the League continues to educate, empower, and encourage all citizens to vote. We work hard, and we have a website called Vote 411 that we try and push out to voters if you're looking for nonpartisan information on different candidates. Across the United States, there are 750 local League of Women Voters, and in the U.S. territories, and they run thousands of voter registration campaigns every year. Many also do candidates night. Centre County League of Women Voters runs our candidate night before every primary, so contested races, candidates, some of you have been to them. I recognize some faces. Our primary candidates night that will be this April 30th in the State College Borough building at 7 p.m. So voters can come, meet the candidates, and hear them answer questions that have been generated by the general public. We also advocate for pro-voter legislation and policies at all levels of government. I know everybody here is registered to vote, but if you have family or friends or coworkers who are not, the voter registration deadline for the May 19th primary is May 4th. Don't wait until then. And if you have someone who's a rising voter, someone who's going to turn 18 on or before May 19th, they can register to vote right now. They don't need to wait. As long as you will be 18 and you're a citizen, by the next election, you can go ahead and register to vote. And if you know an event or a group that would like some of us to come and talk about voting or register voters at an event, please contact me, Kathleen O'Connell, the president, through our League of Women Voters of Centre County website. Thanks again for your support of women's history, and I vote that we have another 250 years at least of the United States of America. And I'd like to thank all of you in local government for your part in that, because it's a lot of work. You have to figure out a lot, and I don't think you guys get nearly as many thanks as you all deserve. So thanks for that, and thanks for the proclamation.
Hi, I'm Kim Hamilton. I want to thank the mayor and Bellefonte Borough Council for having this important proclamation recognizing Women's History Month. Previous speakers have said a lot, and there's probably not a whole lot that I can offer. But I am speaking on behalf of Nittany Now, which is the local chapter for the National Organization for Women. So the National Organization for Women was founded in 1966. So, and then our local chapter was founded in 1986. So the National Organization was founded to basically advance women's equality and promote the inclusion of women in all aspects of society. So the local chapter was formed basically by a small group of like-minded women in Center County who shared that mission for enhancing the status of women from all different angles, using multiple strategies, including advocacy, litigation, and education. So I think this proclamation recognizes that women's history should be an integral part of our education, is an important part of that. Unfortunately, women's contributions are often overlooked in history education. According to some statistics gathered by the National Women's History Museum, only about 15% of all history taught in the United States features women's achievements. That percentage is even lower when focusing on the contributions of women of color. This is significant because only when you know about and understand the struggles and triumphs of the women who came before us can you sort of better understand some of the structural inequities that still exist today. So along those lines, I'd like to suggest that this month is not just a time to honor the trailblazers and the ones who broke barriers and shattered glass ceilings. It's also a moment to recognize the women in our own lives, our mothers, daughters, colleagues, friends, all of those women who inspire us through their strength and resilience. And by acknowledging the achievements of all the women, past, present, and future, we honor their legacy and inspire the next generation to keep making history. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's do a picture.
Picture time.
Oh.
You want all council to get in for a photo? We could take. Could all council get in for a picture? That's, if you want.
Thank you. I used to be a security guard at this.
Oh, sorry. Okay, does all council want to join?
Sure.
How did we do the last one?
On the other side,
Yeah, we did the last one on the back wall. We moved the chairs.
So much for being part of the team.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's great.
Ladies, before you leave, League of Women Voters, we have a fantastic building here that we love to display. So during your debate night, if for some reason that room becomes unavailable, we'd love to show off our building. So,
this is a lot prettier than State College.
Well, well,
So we will consider that.
so the offer is there. I think I'm going beyond the guardrails of consulting with council, but I feel that council would be honored to have you guys here. So,
Thanks for mentioning that.
great. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you for inviting us and thank you for having us. We really appreciate it. So happy Women's History Month to all of you.
All of us. All the women on council.
Oh, no, all of you. Men can't do without us women.
And the League of Women Voters did in the early 70s vote in men as members also. So it's not just women.
And thank you for having your candidate nights. Those are great.
Yeah, well, thanks for those of you who've come. It's really appreciated by the community and by us.
Okay, that's a tough act to follow. Great. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Anything else, Mayor, for your report?
No, thank you. That was my honor to read a proclamation for those ladies and to get everybody in that picture. So thank you.
I agree. Thank you. Thank you, Joanne.
You're welcome.
Okay, we're going to move on to, well, yes, we do have OCA memo. It was in your packet. I need a motion and a second to approve 122 West Bishop Street facade project as presented. I'm not going to read the whole detail. Do I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Barb. Thank you, Joanne. Any discussion on Harb's recommendation to approve this? I'm hearing none. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Next item, current and old business. Resolution to PA Association of Boroughs. The current PSAB legislation policy prior information is included in the packet. Council has discussed new policies that would be submitted to PSAB in the form of a resolution for the legislative priority process to take place at the annual conference in June. During the work session, we discussed this. We made recommendations, and I think what we agreed on to modify this motion was to have borough staff create these resolutions and bring it back for approval. Is that?
Yep.
Do I understand that correctly?
Yes. So the motion is to have the interim borough manager and staff craft the 6 new proposed resolutions and by memo support the previously passed resolutions discussed during the work session for continued support. They are then to bring them back for passage at the March 16th meeting.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second it, Dan.
Thank you, Barbara. Any discussion on what we've already discussed at the work session? Hearing none, those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same side. Motion carried unanimously. Next item, Columbia Gas Line Improvement and Roadway Paving Update. Columbia Gas has completed the gas line improvements along Lynn Street and Spring Street. Ameron has been selected as a paving contractor. The asphalt plants are planned to be open in April or May, with the projected paving schedule for June, July of 2026. Joanne, I know that you've been asking this question about Spring Street, others about Lynn Street. I think that's the best answer we can give you today.
Thank you, Alyssa, for finding this out and putting this together for us.
Yep. New business. Center Region Building and Housing Code Board of Appeals appointments. I'm looking for a motion and a second to approve the recommendation to appoint Douglas Workman, Michael Leakey, and Jonathan Pino to the Center Region Building and Housing Code Board of Appeals.
I'll make that recommendation.
I'll second that.
Thank you,
Wilson?
John. Thank you, Claudia. Is there any discussion on these appointments? Looking through their resume, they look like they're very well qualified for this position. Any other discussion? All those in favor of the appointments, please state by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried unanimously. Thanks, Zach. We heard you. Appreciate it. Authorization to sell leaf compost to Metzler Forest Products. I'm looking for a motion and a second to authorize the sale of approximately 300 plus cubic yards of leaf compost to Metzler Forest Products at the rate of $8 per cubic yard, with Metzler Forest Products responsible for all loading and hauling, and with the borough retaining approximately 100 cubic yards for municipal use.
So moved, Brackbill.
Second, Eaton.
Thank you, Randy. Thank you, John. Is there discussion on this motion?
Doug, is that only going to be leaf compost, or is that going to be mulch?
My answer off the top of my head is it states to sell leaf compost.
Okay.
So I don't know. When I've gathered some compost, it's been a combination of sorts of recyclable material.
Right.
Maybe in general it's leaf compost.
Okay.
So I can get a firm answer from Matt Allman on that for you.
Yeah, I'm in either case. I'm for it. I'm just wondering if there's a difference between leaf compost and what we know as mulch.
Yeah.
Actually, I can answer that. There
Great.
is a difference because they have a different process for doing the leaf composting. Yeah, so it is different.
Great. Thank you, Claudia. My question is, where does the profit go? What?
It would go into a revenue line in the general fund.
And that revenue line is, any idea?
I'm not sure what the actual account would be, but we may have a designated account for proceeds from the sale of compost and mulch.
So would that be a general fund?
It would.
If, for instance, would it go specifically to parks, or would it go to anything?
It would just be assigned as general fund revenue.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thanks, Zach. Any opposed? Motion carried unanimously. Next item. Consideration of participation in FY27, I guess that's fiscal year, federal budget priority coalition sign-on letters related to Appalachian and rural community funding priorities. I'm looking for a motion and a second to authorize the borough to review and, if appropriate, participate in the fiscal year 27 federal budget priority coalition sign-on letters supporting funding priorities for Appalachian and rural communities, and to designate the borough manager or appropriate staff to execute the sign-on on behalf of the borough.
So moved, Brackbill.
Thank you, Randy.
Second, Wilson.
Thank you, Claudia. I read through this. I didn't sort of understand it. This is just a recommendation. Can anybody help me out on this? What this means specifically?
What this does is it takes people throughout the Appalachian region, almost the majority of them are rural communities, saying that we need federal funds to do all different kinds of things. One of them, the two that I thought were really important was the flood resilience to keep our communities from flooding, which is particularly useful for here with Spring Creek. And then some other things like workforce development and economic development to not only do that for the urban areas, but for our rural areas. and it's a letter that's put together by Appalachian. I think it's Appalachian Revisited. Yeah, Appalachian Communities, and when they contacted me last week, they said that they were looking for not only nonprofits but municipal government entities to show that this is important for all of us.
So this would be a letter in support of that?
Right. This is a letter that we sign on, and there's one of them already has 44 groups on, and they were trying to get additional ones before.
I saw the list. I wasn't sure how we got involved in it.
Joanne, I have a question. I read through the information you gave us, and I looked at the list of people who have signed, and it's 32 very noteworthy organizations, but none of the signers are from municipal organizations either.
That's why they contacted me, because they said that they were looking for municipal governments, and so they reached out to several people that attend their meetings on a regular basis and asked if they would also have their councils consider signing on to it. So you're right, there are none from what you saw.
Joanne, I'm sorry. I was very similar to Doug and really didn't know what we wanted on this. So this is going to take the staff reviewing this, writing a letter.
No, they don't have to write a letter. They look at the letter, see if they agree with it or not, think if it's appropriate for us, and if so, there is a Google Doc that they put Bellefonte Borough on there, and that's it.
How does this help these people by us signing on to this?
It provides how do I say this? As I understand, it provides a groundswell of organizations, nonprofits, and governmental entities. They're saying, for our region and for our communities, these types of appropriations would be helpful. Please consider it when you're doing the budget for 2027.
Okay, so they're looking for money at some point, if I'm hearing you right.
From the federal government.
From the federal government.
Not from us.
Okay, thank you. I'm just trying to comprehend this. Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
That we possibly can table this if council members aren't comfortable from lack of information to
Doug,
be prepared to
unfortunately, the
vote.
deadline's tomorrow. They did say, however, if we couldn't do it this evening, to let them know, and they would try to figure out something else, but they're trying to get the letter out by the end of the week.
I just wanted to say my interpretation was that they're just, it's like signing a petition. They're looking for some support that says we as an organization support these kinds of programs and support asking the federal government to continue to fund or increase funding. So it's nothing that we need to actually participate in per se. We do not need to provide any money, but it's just saying that we support these particular programs. You know, SNAP was one, NOAA was another one. You know, and just to continue to fund them. So they're looking for a wide base of people to support those things.
Any other discussion? Would you like a roll call vote, or do you want to?
I would like a roll call vote,
Okay.
please, sir.
Mr. Brackbill?
No.
Ms. Cleaton? No. Ms. Dam?
No.
Mr. Eaton?
Yeah.
Mr. Johnson?
No.
Mr. Kelly? No. Ms. McKean?
Yes.
Ms. Tosti Vasey?
Yes.
Ms. Wilson?
Yes.
That's 6 no and 3 yes. The motion fails. I have no Mr. Brackville, Cleaton, Dan, Johnson, Kelly, and Wilson. Or did you vote?
She voted.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. So it is 5-4. Motion fails.
Just one more comment, Joanne. If they extend the deadline and we have more information, we certainly can bring it back again. I have no problem with that.
Okay, I will email Dana and ask her how much longer we can have. They felt there wasn't enough time for this evening.
I have to agree with Ms. Dan. Usually this is a fishing trip for funding. And I agree with Debbie that we're the only borough listed on the list, which is a little strange, but that's fine.
If we voted on it, I would prefer that we not bring it up again. That's just my preference on it.
Okay, we're going to move on. Let's see, the special events fee waiver by HBI America 250 Celebration Parade. It says council may take action. We all have a letter in our packet that is asking for to waive the $100 fee. And when we say council may take action, does that mean that we can make a motion for this tonight?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So is there a motion to waive the fee? Let me see if I can find Deb's letter in here. You all know what it is. It's a fee for a special event.
I'll make that motion, Brackville.
Let me see. I have it here somewhere. Here we are. I'm going to read this. Dear council members, I'm requesting the $100 fee for special events be waived. My name is Deb Berger. I am the co-coordinator of the Hometown Heroes banner that hang in downtown Bellefonte. We are under the historic Bellefonte Incorporated umbrella as a 501c3. This is the time of year for another round of banners, and we have decided to not only honor our heroes, but also celebrate America's 250th. Plans to have an American 250 celebration parade combined with a dedication of banners on Friday, July 3rd is in the works. This will not only be wonderful for the town of Bellefonte, but being the county seat, it will be a great way to show Bellefonte's patriotism. Our committee in past years has given many proceeds to veteran groups, local fire companies, EMS, the Union Cemetery Association, and more. It's because of what we do for the community, I request you forego the fee. Respectfully submitted, Deb Berger. So I'm looking for a motion.
I made that motion, Brackville.
Thank you. Randy, is there a second to that motion? Thank you. Shauna, is there discussion on this? Yes, Joanne. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it doesn't matter.
Sorry, Barb.
I guess I have some questions as to what exactly is going to happen for the $100 fee, because it's supposed to be a special event. Is this just for the parade? Is it for other things in the park? I'm not really sure. I would prefer that she make an application. Would that be the appropriate way to do this, Alyssa?
I have received their application.
Okay.
It is for the parade, and then they're going to congregate at the park for the dedication of the banners. The biggest reason that they want the fee waiver is they're under the HBI umbrella, but this is actually coming out of the Hometown Hero budget, which is a very small budget.
Okay.
And they were wondering if they could have the fee waiver, so then it kind of offsets costs because they're not charging anyone to be in the parade either.
Okay.
So they're not actually profiting off of the parade.
If you don't mind me asking, it is going to cost the borough some, though, with blocking off the roads and having perhaps extra police.
Correct.
Those types of things. Thank you very much.
I'm basically agreeing what I'm hearing Ms. Dan say. It costs our staff time to process these special event permits. It cost us time to do the police force or the fire police, whichever one we decide to use. I wouldn't have a problem with waiving $30 of the fee to match the $30 application fee, but not the full $100. Because if you look at our fee schedule, there is a $30 application fee when someone wants to do an event or something in the park. This is doing both the park and the train. So I think if they want to do this, I would prefer, and I'll make a motion to waive 30 of the $100.
Other comments from council?
I made a motion, so that needs a second.
Yeah, was there a second to your motion?
On the table already. There's a motion and a second.
Yeah, that's correct.
To waive the fee.
To waive the fee, there is a motion on the
Yes,
motion
but
would
this
have
is
to
a
be
motion to amend, to reduce to make it a $30 waiver instead of a $100 waiver.
Is there a second to that amended motion?
Okay.
My comment is, Alyssa, help me out on this. Is the $100 the fee that is being charged appropriately?
Yes, actually, where the confusion is coming from is we have a Tally Park rental fee, which is actually for weddings, which is a $30 non-refundable application fee. The special event fee is $100. So it's just a flat $100 fee for special events. And that is to help cover with our road closures, permits, different forms, letters that we have to complete for the special events.
So tomorrow, if they had to pay a fee and make this go forward, it would be $100, correct?
Correct.
Okay. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say I will cover the $100 for this project. If council votes this down, I will cover it. And if there's others who want to contribute, fine. But this is a special event for this town and for veterans and other community members. It's a nonprofit. To me, it needs to be waived. Any other comments on this?
Doug, I agree. I certainly agree with what you're saying. I also do feel a responsibility to our workers and everybody that takes care of these things too. I like that you volunteered that. I would be happy to contribute to that too. But I don't think we should waive the fee, but I would be happy to help you out with that. I would appreciate that.
Thank you, Barb. Any other discussion?
Well, clarification. So is this the America 250 celebration parade? This is going to be the 250 parade. It's not, it's going to be conducted in conjunction with the hometown heroes banners.
As I understand it, John, yes, that's accurate.
Yeah. I don't think you can politically have a win by charging somebody for a $100 fee to have the 250th anniversary parade. Doesn't quite. I think I would waive the fee and just say, it's only going to happen every 50 years if we're lucky. Some of us were here for 1776. I might not be here for 2076. So what the hey? For 2026, let's waive the fee.
Any other comments? Roll call vote, please.
Could you tell me, please, what we are voting?
We're voting to waive the $100 fee.
Thank you.
That's been requested by HBI, I think it is. Yes. Historic Bellefonte Incorporated,
yes,
which is a Bellefonte 501c3 organization.
Mr. Brackbill,
Yes.
Ms. Cleaton, yes. Ms. Dan,
No.
Mr. Eaton,
Yeah,
Mr. Johnson,
Yes.
Mr. Kelly. Yes. Ms. McKean,
Yes.
Ms. Tosti Vasey,
No.
Ms. Wilson.
No.
That's 6 yes and 3 no. The motion passes.
Thank you. Okay. Last but not least, public comment regarding issues not on the agenda. Thanks for being so patient.
Everybody doing all right today? Good. So my name's Travis O'Neill. I've been living here for 6 years. I live on 349 South Spring Street. I moved here not that long ago with my wife. Believe it or not, I drive about an hour to work every day. So I don't get home till about 6. So come Friday, I'm sure you can consider my surprise when I got home and I was no longer allowed to park in my parking spot that I've been parking for the last 6 years. Not only was I not able to park my parking spot, but there was no place for me to park on the street. And as a matter of fact, there's been no place for me to park on the street for the last 4 days, which means I have to park at the top of the hill. Now, I don't know if you guys know about that hill. It's just an open field, but it's about 0.12 miles away, which doesn't seem like much, but it's about a 6-minute walk, 8 if I'm booking it. You know, inclement weather, it's about 10 to 12, you know. And I saw the sign that said that I'm not allowed to park there between November and April. Now, inevitably, that field's probably going to get pretty muddy. We're looking at a lot of rain coming up here soon and whatnot, so there's a possibility my car's going to get stuck out there at some point. So where's the next place for me to go? Well, it's going to be Allegheny Street, which is about a quarter of a mile away. So it's quite an ask to do when I'm walking. Not quite sure, you guys probably can't tell, but I'm here with my wife today, and we're expecting our first child. Hopefully later this year. Obviously, we're expecting her to get more pregnant, as these things do. But I can only imagine now, come the winter, that I'm going to be walking all the way down to Allegheny Street with my car seat, my child, and my carrier. And heaven forbid, this weekend, you know, it was a nice weekend, I was like, I'm going to go get my sunglasses. It took me 12 minutes to get to my car and get back. And today, of course, my wife and I drew the short straw, and neither one of us have a parking spot on our street, so both of us are up there. And of course, I do not want my wife to be walking like that. Now, I know it's a bear. I know it's a tight street. I've been living there for 6 years. It's difficult. I always put my mirrors in and stuff, but the ordinance is just, it's a little bit unfathomable to consider that nobody's allowed to park on that one side of the street. And we don't park there because we want to. We park there because it's a necessity. We don't have a driveway, unfortunately. You know, people around us do. But when that happened, obviously, I was pretty ticked off about it. But I mean, so and next time I go to the grocery store, heaven forbid, it takes me multiple trips. And if anybody thinks here that it's not that big of a deal, I just encourage you next time you guys go grocery shopping to just pull all your bags and just walk around your property for about 6 minutes. Then go inside. And if you have to do another trip, walk another 6. It's really, I mean, the number one thing I wanted to say is I've been living here for 6 years, and I feel like my family's not wanted because I'm being pushed out of my own street, you know? And I appreciate you guys' time, but that's all I have to say today. Thank you. I'm 349 South Spring Street. Yes. Yep. Yeah. Still working on it. No, okay. You're saying you have to walk all the way up to the cemetery? Yes, yes. Even today, somebody's parked directly in front of our house, as you can see there. So yeah, we walk up to the cemetery. Another issue that I wanted to bring up too, on top of that cemetery, not only do we have to park in that field, It's not very well lit. There's no sidewalks. So I understand that an issue that was brought up is emergency vehicles and plows and whatnot. And like I said, I know it's a hard street. I see a lot of ambulances go up and down there. I do see the cops periodically as well, and I also see the plows go up there. I get it. It's a narrow street. The sidewalks, for some reason, are 5 feet high. But to expect me to be walking with my child in up the road where there's no sidewalk and there's barely any lighting feels like it puts my child, well, my future child, in more danger than necessary. Because if there's a plow coming up that street and I'm walking in the middle of the road, I'm sure you understand. I'm not the only house that doesn't have a driveway. Unfortunately, I don't have I don't really talk to my neighbors too much. I wave, they don't really wave back. So, but by my estimate, there's about 4 cars that are affected by the new parking. And there's been a couple cars that have just continued to park on the side that says we're no longer allowed to park there. So I would say probably 4 to 6 cars probably.
I appreciate your comments. We don't typically interact with the public comment. Does your wife want to speak as well, or are you going to say pretty much the same thing?
Yeah, similar
come
but
up
different.
To the,
yeah.
If you would come up to the...
we coordinated.
Yeah.
My name is Mara O'Neill, also a resident of South Spring Street. I think my husband outlined most of the concerns that we have with this new parking restriction. When I called to ask about the ordinance when it was placed on, or when the signs went up on Friday, one of the questions I was asked was what I was hoping to get out of this, out of voicing some of our concerns, and I hope that we can find a solution that could help not just us, but others on our street. And I understand I lived in a small railroad town that was built before you had to worry about cars and emergency vehicles coming through. And a solution that they had was a snow ban that they enact before a storm. When it's storming, half of the street you cannot park there. Once it's clear, they reverse it. They clear the other side of the street, and then they lift the ban. That way, most of the residents are just inconvenienced for a couple of days at most, instead of for 6 whole months out of the year. And this is something that they send out either with phone calls, text messages, emails, different ways to help ensure that everyone in the community knows what is happening. So I was hoping that this type of idea could be helpful. I have also heard similar frustrations from other streets in the borough that are affected by winter parking restrictions as well. So again, not just helping us on South Spring Street, but hopefully other residents in the borough as well. Thank you.
Thank you. What I'm going to do is, we always appreciate residents coming in with their concerns. This task was referred to our streets committee. They met and made these decisions and recommendations to council. We're always open to taking another look at problem areas. So I'm going to ask streets committee to have another look at it and see if there's a compromise we can help these folks out with. So they meet once a month, right? Okay, so they will be meeting, and maybe by next council meeting, possibly. By next council meeting, they will have a recommendation. Mr. Brackbill is the chair of that committee. You can reach him through his email on the borough website if there are other things that you would like to, if there's more that you would like to bring to his attention, so that he could present that to the streets committee and then bring that to council. Okay? You're welcome. Thank you.
And I really want to thank the public comments for highlighting the fact that we do need to monitor so that we would be able to look at Google Maps and see their very nice property.
We were struggling to look at them, yes, and you're absolutely right. So is there any other comments from the public? I don't see any. We're going to go around the council table for comments for the good of the order. Joanne, I'll start with you tonight.
Nothing really. I did attend the CCMPO meeting last week, and I have created a report, and I'll bring it to the next meeting.
President Johnson looked at me earlier this evening and told me about the parade and if I'd be in it. And I'm saying, yeah, I'll be in it, and so will you all be there. See you then.
I think what Mr. Brackbill is suggesting is that we need to gather together and participate in some means in the parade as a unit. So those who are willing to brave that day, we would like some ideas, I think, of what we could create a theme for Bellefonte Borough. Help me out, Randy, is that accurate? Yes, the parade starts, I think, at the high school, July 3rd. Well, I don't know if we're going to be walking. I was hoping we'd have a vehicle. The mayor volunteered. No. Seriously, if you want to create a float or some device that we can all ride on and be stoned, I mean, that means people throwing stones.
Doug, I thought you all threw candy at the crowd, not the other way around.
So, I threw it out as a suggestion a month or two ago when Deb announced it. I confronted Randy with the suggestion that he chair this event. So I would support it however I can. Thanks, Randy.
It's my wish for discussion in a future meeting to revisit the Victorian Bellefonte sign that was destroyed in that really bad storm last year. I know Mr. Holderman and myself had gone out and looked for a new location and had a plan, but I just don't want it to go away. So is that something that we could put for a future discussion topic, please?
Absolutely. Thank you, Mayor, for reminding that.
Thank you.
Yes, this is just a reminder that your tax bills went out this week. They look like junk mail, even though they say official tax bill on the front, so look for that. And if you are a resident of the borough and participate in the brush collection, the new billing is now a 4x6 postcard. It does have information on the back about waste collection, and please put your bin number on your check. Thank you.
I had something, but I've forgotten it when I was distracted by the float discussion. So I'm going to go to John and work my way back. Maybe by then I'll remember what I was going to say.
Early onset there, Douglas. So I got two things. I just got this in the mail today, and this is exciting. The Bellefonte Art Museum is sponsoring an event at the Titan Metal site on March 19th. It is actually going to be a historical tour of the site, led by Joe Leahy. If you can make that, go to the BAM's Bellefonte Art Museum website and RSVP. And if you're in town, they have a very nice display at the Art Museum this month of industrial artwork. It was the artwork that was in the Steidel and Dike buildings at Penn State. It basically is paintings of refractories, glassworks, metal foundries, paintings that were created during the 1930s with WPA funding in many ways. It's a very good display, so heartily recommend it.
I thought you had two things.
That what? Well, I blended the two
Okay.
together.
I just wanted to remind you, I make sure that you cleared that memory bank.
Just because you had a memory problem, don't imply I had a memory problem.
Shauna. Claudia.
So I wanted to bring attention to the fact that there's a Town and Gown article about women in emergency services or in key positions, and two of our police department have been acknowledged there, and Sergeant Macy Neidig and Detective Lisa Larkin. It's a nice article, and just bringing attention that we have two women that have gotten some notoriety.
Nice. Thank you very much. Barbara.
Yes. I have a question that will go to the Borough Authority. I do have some residents that are asking me about the increases in the sewer and water. I did look up some of your minutes and some of the other things that were listed. I really couldn't figure out why they went up. Sewer went up from $141.50 to $166.50, and water went up from $6.45 to $7.45 per 100 gallons. I'm not expecting anything now, but I'm wondering if you would be able to address that at the next meeting. I think that would be very helpful to know why those were raised.
Yes, we have an authority meeting tomorrow night at 6 p.m. That will be on the agenda. The initial reason was we had an $800,000 deficit.
Okay.
And the last time I took a look at it, it was down to about $400,000 or $500,000. Okay. And the $25 per quarter was very, very painful for us to approve. And we didn't understand why the deficit was so great. We're still researching that. Mr. Eaton has prepared a PowerPoint presentation for tomorrow evening to discuss with the full authority. It looks like we may be able to reduce that. But that, I was told that borough staff recommended a $5 a quarter. I don't recall that recommendation. We had a very brutal discussion on the $25 per quarter increase. And I don't even think the authority is clear on why the deficit was so great at this minute. Tomorrow night, we will be discussing that in more detail. So I will have an answer for you in the future. David.
Did you want to?
Yes, Zach, do you have some comments for the good of the order? Oh, he couldn't hear. David.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a couple of things to report on. Staff had a productive meeting with our colleague at the Bellefonte Alliance, Lorraine Mulfinger, and a grant manager with the Lumber Heritage Foundation to talk about whether they might be interested in repurposing their grant award for the Talleyrand train station ADA improvements to the restroom facilities to be able to apply those funds towards the deck at the Talleyrand suspension bridge, and then we would present to council for your consideration at an upcoming meeting to be determined when. Your decision in terms of reallocating those community development block grant funds from the suspension bridge to the ADA improvements at the train station. So it might be a way that we could achieve all of our goals in that area with upgrades and improvements to the suspension bridge and simultaneously provide access to the train station and to the restroom facility. So more to come on that, but I thought it was a good discussion, and all options are still on the table. I'm working on, also on parks, working on coordinating a meeting with an engineering firm to provide a proposal for council's consideration to develop a feasibility study for the Potter Street rail spur improvements to connect Talleyrand to Missoula Parks. So that will be presented through the Parks Committee and then ultimately for council's blessing at a future meeting. And then lastly, I just wanted to correct a misstatement I made earlier this evening to you, Mr. President. The revenue for the compost actually is deposited in the refuse fund, not the general fund. I checked the budget. We have a line item in refuse, which is where those proceeds would be applied towards. That concludes my report, unless there's any questions. Thank you.
Any questions for David? Okay, I did remember what I was going to say. We have the PSAB conference coming up in June, and we need 2 delegates, the main delegate, the voting delegate, and an alternate. So I'm looking for whoever is going to attend. Okay. Yes, Joanne? Oh, okay. So we need to consider who's going to be our delegate, voting delegate, and an alternate, once we have decided what.
And I'll be going also,
Okay.
but maybe not the whole time. So.
Okay, I'm going to have 5 straws, and whoever gets the longest straw will be. This is for the resolution voting. At the end of the.
We don't have to be, at one point we had to have
That. Go ahead.
Yeah, a county group to have the voting delegates. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think you and I have both done this. You don't get to go to that first meeting where they actually make the decisions. You go to the voting session at the end.
You can do the voting, but you can't do the first session where
That's
they
correct.
discuss
You and I have
them.
both done that.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying.
Sure.
That is the resolution committee that makes the recommendation for the voting, is the first one. Yeah. So I'm looking for the
Voting delegate.
exactly, and the alternate. So anybody that's interested in that, being that person, let me know, and I'm putting your names in a hat, and whoever gets drawn will be the voter, because that's what we're voting for. There's no change. You either say yes or no, and if it comes up that one of the resolutions that we've supported, you vote yes, right? Am I right on that? Yeah. Yes. Okay. So that's how that'll work. Okay? That's all I have. Motion to adjourn. Thank you. We're adjourned.